All right, here we go. This is the San Francisco 49ers Report by Chat Sports, and it is presented to you by Manscaped. It's summertime, so you know what that means. It's a great opportunity and time for you to get your hands and your balls on the best men's grooming products. And for the faithful, there's a custom link that you can use to get 20% off and free shipping. You see it at the bottom of your screen right there. It's manscaped.com/49ers. Going to put that link in the comment section as well as the description of this video. Appreciate Manscaped for making today's show possible. We'll get the official show started in about 8 to 10 minutes, but up until that time, it's all about you, the faithful, the Niner Empire, and the Niner Gang. San Francisco. Get that comment section popping. Where's the Niner Gang hanging out? As always, we're coming to you from the Chat Sports Studios in Dallas, Texas. You let me know where you are. What up, Niner family? From Mike Honcho, James Hartley in the chat, John Brooks is as well, Ronnie Baca, Reg Smith, who really wants the Niners to hold on to Jimmy Garoppolo. I appreciate the passion in the comment section, as always, from you, Reg. I'm also seeing Jose, John Brooks. Let me know where you're tuned in from. Jesus Velez, he's just hopping into the show. Producer Coop is on the ones and twos. What are we talking about today? Latest on Jimmy Garoppolo. San Francisco signed a former first-round pick at defensive tackle. Jimmy Garoppolo trade destinations. Could San Francisco trade him to the New York Giants for Tyrod Taylor to get a better backup as compared to who they have right now? Also, a mailbag. Then we'll be going live on Callin exclusively for another live podcast, taking all of your calls. But also, I put together a list of 5 rookies who I'm most looking forward to watching when training camp gets underway next Tuesday. Going back to the comment section, Mike Honcho is tuned in from Earth. Wet Noodle 187, Spokane, Washington. Dwayne Witherspoon, Staunton, Virginia. Albuquerque, New Mexico from Lorenzo. Jacksonville, Florida from Kevin. Calling after the show, Bird Dog, you already know. What's up, Let's Go Niners from Lavelle. What it do? Dwayne saying what's up as well. Jimmy from Frederick Malone. Lowell, Massachusetts. Another New Mexico. God, if only we took the Falcons third for Jimmy Garoppolo. Let's do it. Frisco, Texas from JW. Byron McCants. What's good, Chase? Julian Rost, who has a dope 49ers man cave, as we talked about on Monday, also tuned in from Tampa Bay. Who are you most excited to watch at training camp? I ask that question because after our YouTube and Rumble show wraps up, as we're live right now on both platforms, we'll be doing another live podcast on Callin where you can call into the show, we can chop it up, we can interact, share some laughs, share some takes, but also put together that list of 5 rookies who I'm most looking forward to watching during training camp next week. Another reminder, live, call in, chatsports.com/49ers call in. You plug in that link, that's how you can join us. Also, if you want to download the app, which is like Twitter Spaces, but even better, you got to make a profile. So the download links on your iPhone and Android devices available in the description of this video. So, you got any rookies that you want to watch? That was the last question that I saw. In the meantime, more shout-outs. H. Lopez from San Diego. What up, Hector? Vancouver from Raj. Kansas City from TR3D. Jay Cruz. Palmdale, California. Anthony Castillo. San Francisco, JW. Virginia Beach from Byron. Mike is tuned in from the 209. One mailbag today. Hashtag 49ers. Better yet, if you super chat us, we'll get your questions answered. And you know what? For the faithful, I haven't shotgunned a beer in a little while. I think it's time. I'll do it for a $50 super chat. We'll bring that back. You know what I'm also thinking of doing during watch parties this year when I don't want to be hungover the next day? I'll run 1 mile for every $100 that we get, up to maybe $1,000. So I'm thinking $1,000 in supers. That means after the watch party, I'll run 10 miles. What do you think about that? Let me know in the comment section. Thinking about switching it up a little bit on days that I don't feel like drinking and getting hungover. Y'all tap in from Draco, Virginia Beach, once again from Byron, Timmy Free, talking about the Falcons and maybe the fact that Garoppolo could get traded there. Liam Nevin, yo! What it do, Liam? San Jose is where Toy Axe is from the 352, from the 1x1. Send Jimmy to the Texans from Don Mecca. Drake Jackson going to be a beast from JW. Tune into the call-in show. Let you know if we're going to be talking about Drake Jackson or not. If you're ready to start the show, you know what I want you to do right now? I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. 122 people watching live right now. That number will continue to grow all throughout the day, but only 26 likes. So smash that thumbs up icon if you're ready to start the show, because there's a lot for us to talk about today. Byron McCants, he can't wait to see Danny Gray as well as Drake Jackson, the second and third round picks for the Niners. Are you liking the video, though? 26 likes. I think things are delayed on YouTube right now, so that number will just start to go up here in just a few moments, because I know the faithful. You always show up and you always show out. Here's what we're diving into on today's show. Latest 49ers news and rumors. They made a signing at defensive tackle, bringing in a bust who's a former first-round pick. We'll see if he can compete for a roster spot. Jimmy G latest. We'll get you caught up on all of the news and rumors on that front, as well as updated destinations after the Niners agreed to give him that permission for he and his camp to request a trade. One mailbag today. So you can start getting your questions in as early as right now. Hashtag 49ers for a $50 super chat. I will shotgun a beer. And on call-in, rookies to watch in training camp. All of that coming up right now. 50 likes, more people continuing to pile into the show. You want to retweet my tweet at Chase_Senior. You want to share this video and let people know that we're live breaking it all down on the 49ers Report. Do so. And without further ado, let's officially start the show. All right, here we go. Welcome into the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. Chase Senior here with you. Today's show presented to you by Manscaped, the owner and the producer of the best men's grooming products. And they put together a custom link for the faithful so that you can get hooked up with 20% off and free shipping. Head to manscaped.com/49ers. I'll put that link in the comment section and the description so you can start saving money today and get your hands on the best men's grooming products out there. I'll put that link in the comment section and the description of this video, as we always do here on the 49ers Report. We begin today's show with this. 49ers signing a former first-round pick who up to this point in his respective NFL career has been a bust. We're talking about Robert Nkemdiche, a former first-round pick out of Ole Miss for the Arizona Cardinals. And from that point on, it became pretty clear early that he wasn't on the right track to live up to those lofty expectations of being selected 29th overall in the 2016 NFL Draft. But we know that the 49ers have this team-building philosophy of building along the trenches, especially on the defensive line, and they're bringing in Nkemdiche to really compete for a roster spot at defensive tackle. Now, if you ask me if I think he's going to make this roster, he's probably on the outside looking in, but quality depth pieces are always solid pieces to bring in. So more on Nkemdiche right here. He went to Ole Miss, had a really good career, second-team All-American, All-SEC while he was playing there, was with the Cardinals from 2016 to 2018, but they realized, look, we have to cut bait, we have to move on, it's not working out, so we're going to let go of him. He goes to the Miami Dolphins in 2019, did not play in 2020, then played 9 games last year with the Seattle Seahawks. And it's not a hyperbolic statement to say that this guy has been a bust up to this point in his NFL career. You look at the numbers that he's put up the last 4 years. He's been in the league for 5. 2018, the best year that he's had. 10 games played, 4.5 sacks, 9 tackles for loss, 7 quarterback hits. In 2019, really didn't do much. Really the big story for him also, he's failed to stay on the football field consistently, and he's been a huge bust. You can't overstate that. There's no question about that, but the Niners do a great job of maximizing defensive linemen. They put them in position so that they can succeed. That was the case under Robert Saleh. It's been the case for a year under DeMeco Ryans. They have the best defensive line coach in the National Football League in Chris Kocurek, who's able able to really do a great job and do wonders with developing defensive linemen, maximizing their talents. That's a byproduct of the scheme that the Niners like to run, where they're aggressive on that front with getting home with 4 pass rushers, occasionally sending home more blitzers, but also they do a great job of just coaching these guys up. We have seen these defensive linemen who have been drafted high by other teams. They come to the Niners and really revive their careers to a certain degree because they're able to flourish in a short amount of time in San Francisco. You saw it last year with Arden Key, and the list of guys who have been able to really redeem themselves has been long. So for Nkemdiche, he has not been good up to this point. The production hasn't there, but as a depth piece and a training camp body, you can certainly go worse with other options out there. So do you think he's going to make the 53-man roster? Put your general manager hats on right now and let me know. Give me an M for make, W for won't make. Get those votes in the comment section right now. We shift gears from the defensive side of the ball to the offensive side of the ball. Have to get you caught up on everything going down on the Jimmy Garoppolo front. When Ian Rappaport made that report, we pushed out a video. Then there was that report from Adam Schefter, and we had to get you caught up on everything going down with Garoppolo. So the 49ers did give him permission to seek a trade. We covered that yesterday, and reportedly teams are starting to check in because the medicals are starting to check out, although he's not going to be a full participant, according to Rappaport, until about mid-August. As for the teams making calls to the Niners reportedly, we start off with the Atlanta Falcons. We start with Cam Marino's report saying this on Twitter on Thursday. Falcons are one of the 5 known teams with a call into the 49ers regarding quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo, or source confirms. Now, this is somewhat surprising because the Falcons, I think, are going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL this upcoming season. They did sign Marcus Mariota in NFL free agency. He's expected to be quarterback 1, and I think that more so he's a backup quarterback, but for a team that traded away Matt Ryan, when you do that, that signals a little bit of a reset or a rebuild. They did draft Desmond Ridder, who at Cincinnati led the Bearcats to the college football playoff last year, was one of the more winningest quarterbacks in college football history. He did a great job with the Bearcats, but there's just a lot of rumors out there that he's not going to be ready to start for a couple of seasons. And then Felipe Franks, who's just straight up garbage and not a quarterback, they tried him at tight end. He is quarterback 3. So I'm not sure how much sense the Falcons make as a Garoppolo destination right now. But if you look into the future, at some point, head coach Arthur Smith, who's going into his sophomore season as the head man of Atlanta, is going to have to win. He's going to feel that pressure if he wants to hold on to his job. Had a lot of success as the offensive coordinator with the Tennessee Titans, but we know the NFL stands for not for long, especially for players and coaches, and the window for head coaching opportunities is very short. We also know that Arthur Blank, the owner of Atlanta, very aggressive owner, right? So Arthur Smith might start to feel the heat and the pressure of needing to win. And what does Jimmy Garoppolo do? If anything, he wins a lot of football games, and he could bring that winning formula back to the ATL. Now, if you were John Lynch, what would you ask the Falcons in a Jimmy Garoppolo trade? They do have a lot of draft picks over the next couple of years. I thought before the injury, Garoppolo could have gotten maybe a 2nd or 3rd round pick. Now, after the injury, and with all of the quarterback movement that's taken place, what do you think the Niners can get back? Let me know right now. Now, if a big move, trade, signing, release, injury, or anything happens on the 49ers front, we're going to keep you updated right here on the channel. A big reason why we've been able to grow so quickly and so largely because of you, our consistency, us being informative, entertaining, and pushing out videos every single day. So if you want to be a part of the Niner Gang family here at Chat Sports, the largest Niners news and rumors channel on YouTube, join the party. Hit that red sub button down below. We can't talk about Garoppolo without also talking about Trey Lance, and Diana Russini on ESPN on Thursday morning did relay this. The 49ers want to trade Jimmy Garoppolo. In putting out the news that they're allowing him to seek a deal, his agent has been doing work behind the scenes for weeks. From conversation I've had around the league, it seems like once a team becomes desperate enough out there, an injury happens to a quarterback or a QB isn't performing, that's when Jimmy G will get moved. Now, coming up next on the show, Other teams, in addition to the Falcons, checking in on Garoppolo, and some believe that the New York Giants are the best fit for his services. We'll get to that coming up around the corner, but as I mentioned off the top of the show, the 49ers report presented to you by Manscaped. And these boxer briefs right here, I'm not kidding you. They are the most comfortable boxer briefs I have ever worn in my life. They have a nice little nut hugger in there to keep your balls comfortable. In addition to that, you can also get the brand new Lawnmower 4.0, 20% off and free shipping. If you plug in the link at the bottom of your screen, it's manscaped.com/49ers. Your significant other, they're going to look at you in those boxer briefs and say, yes, I love it. And also, the Lawnmower 4.0, you're going to love it. 4 interchangeable blades, a battery life that lasts a long time. It's water resistant. It looks like something that comes out of the Transformers. And it operates like something out of the Transformers. It is that elite. I'll put that link in the comment section and the description of this video for you. Now, on Sunday's show, we talked about Garoppolo maybe getting dealt to the New York Giants. This is something that David Carr thought was a good scenario that could happen for New York. And Colin Cowherd, on top of that, said that on his radio show on Fox Sports Radio, saying, quote, I think that the Giants are the best landing spot and the destination that makes sense for Garoppolo. And here's why the Giants make sense. And this is what Cowherd also had to say. Garoppolo has the look, the game, the confidence that fits in New York. If you could play in Boston and you can play in Foxborough for the New England Patriots, you could play for the New York Football Giants. The G-Men also have an offensive-minded head coach in Brian Daboll, who did a great job of developing Josh Allen in Buffalo. And we'll see if he can do the same thing with Daniel Jones, but he's going to want to win at some point, and again, that's what Garoppolo does really well. The Giants clearly have questions about Daniel Jones. This new regime, led by Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen, they're not tied to DJ. They didn't draft Daniel Jones, so they're already looking into the future, looking for their future quarterback. We know that Garoppolo wins, and the Giants are desperate to win in the number one media market in the country where there's always pressure. They have one winning season over the last 9 years. It has been an abysmal decade of football for New York and embarrassing. So if Garoppolo can turn the tide there for a pretty affordable price and below market value and give the Giants something that they haven't had in almost a decade, that's winning consistent football games, they could look to make a trade. Now that's the Giants side of this. How about the Miami Dolphins side of the equation? Could Mike McDaniel come calling for Garoppolo as well? He's been said to be very tight with Jimmy G as he spent the last couple of years with him in the Bay Area before flying across the country to take the head coaching job for the Miami Dolphins. And the same can be said for a lot of these young coaches. You have a little bit of that buffer zone and a little bit of a cushion when you start out your coaching career, but you start to get into year 2, year 3, and if you last into year 4 and you're not winning consistently, the general manager is going to start to feel the heat because he's feeling the heat from the owner, and they're going to look to make upgrades at the quarterback spot, on the roster, in the front office, and with their head coaching staff. So could Mike McDaniel hit up his former team in San Francisco if Tua Tagovailoa isn't cutting it? NFL executive saying this about Garoppolo: I know this, Jimmy G is way more liked in league circles as a player than Tua Tagovailoa is. He's accomplished way more, and that matters at that position, almost more than anything else. And remember, Mike McDaniel knows Jimmy Garoppolo really well. With a new head coach, all McDaniel cares about is winning, and winning now. He could be looking at Tua, shaking his head and saying, I don't know, maybe he loves him. But if he hasn't seen enough from him during workouts or OTAs, this is his honeymoon with that ownership and front office. You got to make the deal right now. And what Mike McDaniel has to his advantage, communication with this Niners brass. He's still good friends, of course, with Kyle Shanahan. He can hit up John Lynch and let them know, look, I'm not happy with Tua Tagovailoa right now. In free agency, we spent about as much money as any team in the NFL, and right now it's not looking good on the offensive side. We traded for Tyreek Hill. We made all of these other offensive acquisitions, bringing in Cedric Wilson, beefing up the running back spot by adding Raheem Mostert with depth, but we don't have a quarterback, and that's the most important. That's what we need. What does it cost for Garoppolo? Something to keep an eye on, certainly. With that, I want to ask you this. Where will Garoppolo play in 2022? I've asked you this question before, but it looks as though and seems as though we've changed our opinions on this subject matter every single week. So as of right now, July 21st, where do you think Jimmy G is this upcoming season? Okay, we'll give you some shout-outs here. Paul Pinzon, Travis Boff, Max79, Hanif Razak is back, Blake Brown. You guys are the best. Debo, that like button. Yes, sir. You already know Memphis, Maine. Niner gang over everything. Paul saying, why not trade him to Washington? They have Carson Wentz, but again, a trade could happen. It could develop if some of these teams aren't happy with their quarterbacks. Ron Rivera, also some pressure to win in year 3. Travis Boff, only way he's going to Seattle is if he's cut or the Sea Chickens make an offer we can't refuse. Yeah, I'd say that's one of the more least likely destinations for Garoppolo. Mikey Sues, Washington Commanders. Nah, not Jimmy G, so he disagrees. Paul saying Washington. Peter Lee, New York Giants. John Brooks, I think Jimmy G goes to the Falcons. Chua Lore, Giants. Chua's been tuned into our NBA content. Been going live multiple times per week. It's been awesome. Hope you guys have been able to join us like Chua. Seattle, H. Morris. I bet he plays for the Niners this preseason, Shylock. Okay, that would be interesting. Mick D saying Pittsburgh. Another reminder, in case you're just joining us, going to be going live on Call-In after the show for another live podcast. It all kicks off right after our YouTube and Rumble show wraps up. As soon as we're done with our final segment of the day, which is another mailbag, going to be going live on Call-In to take your calls, but also 5 rookies who I'm looking forward to watching throughout training camp as it gets underway next week at the SAP practice facility. Mailbag, speaking of that, get those questions in, hashtag 49ers or Super Chat. I've seen a couple of questions come in. The reason why we ask you to use the hashtag 49ers so that producer Coop can see your questions and then put them up on the screen, and then we can share them on the show. So do that right now, hashtag 49ers or Super Chat. And if we get a $50 Super Chat, I'm shotgunning a beer because it's been way too long. Coming up next on the show, latest rumors on the Jimmy Garoppolo trade front and updated Jimmy Garoppolo destinations after the Niners gave him and his camp permission to seek a trade. Keep it locked. Keep it here, right here on the 49ers Report, because this juicy show, we're only underway right now. Welcome in. This is the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Chase Senior. Appreciate all of you for making today's show a part of your day. As for what we're getting into on today's program, Jimmy Garoppolo trade destinations. Now, we've covered this before, but this is of note right now after San Francisco gave Garoppolo and his agent Don Yee permission to seek a deal. And there's been some quarterback movement and some quarterback drama around the NFL, and a couple of teams reportedly have come calling to San Francisco, so we have to update this list and give you all of the latest news and rumors. So, Jimmy Garoppolo updated destinations. I want to start off here with the New York Giants. We covered this last Sunday after NFL Network had discussed it. Colin Cowherd on The Herd also said that the Giants are the best destination for Jimmy G, and it does make some semblance of sense. According to reports, Giants could enter the Jimmy Garoppolo sweepstakes. They did decline the 5th-year option on their current quarterback in Daniel Jones. And speaking of Daniel Jones, he is not tied to the current regime in New York. Joe Shane comes over from Buffalo as the new general manager. Brian Dable comes over from Buffalo as well to be the new head coach, and they didn't draft Daniel Jones. That was the previous regime led by general manager Dave Gettleman, and they really don't care about the previous draft picks. They're looking into the future, trying to get the Giants back on track, an organization that has had one winning season over the last 9 years. Now, with all of these teams, there will have to be some type of financial gymnastics pulled off. There will have to be a contract restructure because there's only one team in the NFL who can currently absorb Garoppolo's base salary of $24 million. The Giants, they have about $5.5 million of cap space. And here's why New York makes some sense. Jimmy Garoppolo has the look, the game, the confidence that fits in New York. He has the nickname of Jimmy GQ. Just a smooth operator who would fit well in the number one media market in the country. The Giants also have hired Brian Daboll, who did a masterful job in developing Josh Allen over a couple of years in Buffalo, turning him in from a guy who out of Wyoming in his rookie year completed 55% of his passes. Then year two, number two in the NFL MVP voting, and his completion percentage went up to 70. So if he can't get it right with Daniel Jones, they might look to a winning option in Garoppolo. There are, of course, questions about DJ because his career up to this point has been Jekyll and Hyde since being a first-round pick out of Duke, and Garoppolo brings the Giants what they so desperately want as an organization and a fan base. A guy who throughout his career has won 71% of his starts, and as I just said, New York, one winning season over the last 9 years. That is embarrassing. There's also this, when you talk about Garoppolo being sent to the New York Giants, and this is what I would do if I'm general manager John Lynch. If we trade you Jimmy Garoppolo, currently Nate Sudfeld is the backup for Trey Lance, and all reports indicate that the Niners are all in on Trey. They're confident in him to be the guy for the Niners. But at that backup spot, if Lance struggles, if he goes down, I don't have a lot of confidence in Nate Sudfeld to lead a team that has several Pro Bowlers, several All-Pros, and a team that just made it to the NFC Championship game, and they were a couple minutes away from making it to their second Super Bowl in 3 years to lead them on a playoff chase. Just don't have a lot of confidence in Nate Sudfeld as a quarterback number two. As a third stringer, maybe. You know who I would have more confidence in? That's Tyrod Taylor, who has shown that he's not a long-term starter in this league. But in a pinch, if he has to play a couple of games, especially in Kyle Shanahan's offense, with Shanny calling the plays, I think that Taylor would be a serviceable backup and one of the better backups in the NFL. That's the move that I would make, and according to some reports and rumors out there, that is a deal that could happen. Pick a backup for Trey Lance in 2022. Do you want to keep Garoppolo at that current cap number or maybe a restructure? Then type JG. Would you rather trade away Garoppolo, get some value back in exchange? You also get Tyrod Taylor as well. Type TT. Let me know right now. As for the Cleveland Browns, another team that continues to be in the thick of things in these Jimmy Garoppolo trade conversations because everything kind of looms right now on Deshaun Watson and his pending legal case. The Browns awaiting the ruling on a potential Watson suspension. There have been so many conflicting reports out there. It's going to be a 2-game suspension, up to 6 games, maybe 8, maybe the entire season. The truth is, nobody out there truly knows what the Watson suspension is going to be. But we do know this. If Watson is suspended for a long period of time, is Cleveland confident in Jacoby Brissett and Josh Dobbs, who are the other quarterbacks on this roster? This Browns team, while they have the most cap space in the NFL, $48.4 million, they can absorb the Garoppolo contract, the only team in the league that can actually do that up to this point of the offseason with training camp coming up around the corner. They have a really good team. David Njoku signed that big deal at tight end. They traded for Amari Cooper. They have a really good defense led by, Myles Garrett, who's one of the best edge rushers in the league. So it makes sense that if Watson is suspended for a long period of time, to make a trade for Garoppolo so that he can at least keep your heads above water and lead you to some wins in an already loaded AFC and a jam-packed AFC North. How many games do you think Watson will get suspended for? If it's 0, type 0. But either way, give us a numerical figure in the comment section right now. Jimmy Garoppolo, destination number 3, Miami Dolphins. They're starting to enter the fold here because of a report and a quote from an NFL exec who tied Garoppolo to Miami. We'll get to that here in just a moment, but first, why do the Dolphins make sense? Well, the relationship between Garoppolo and Niners former offensive coordinator Mike McDaniel, who's now the head coach in South Beach. They were said to be very, very close in San Francisco and still maintain that relationship. And if Tua Tagovailoa struggles, which he has up to this point in his NFL career, the Dolphins spent a ton of money. And there's not only pressure to win right now, coming off a 9-win season, there is pressure to win in the future because they made all of these acquisitions in hopes that they could compete in the AFC East for years to come. Cap space for Miami, $16.3 million. So a little bit more money than a team like the New York Giants. But again, there would have to be a contract restructure if there weren't any other roster moves made by Miami in order to take on Garoppolo's contract. Here's what that NFL executive had to say about Garoppolo maybe going to the Dolphins. Jimmy G, way more liked in league circles as a player than Tua Tagovailoa is. He's accomplished way more, and that matters at that position almost more than anything else. And remember, Mike McDaniel, he knows Jimmy Garoppolo really well. Him being a new head coach, all he cares about is winning, and winning right now. He could be looking at Tua, shaking his head and saying, I don't know, man. Maybe he loves him, but if he hasn't seen enough from Tua during workouts or OTAs, this is his honeymoon with that ownership and front office. You got to make the deal right now. And the Dolphins have made a lot of moves to win right now. The trade for Tyreek Hill, Cedric Wilson, they beefed up the offensive line. They brought in a couple of running backs. That defense is really good. They gave Xavier Howard that large contract extension, making him one of the highest paid cornerbacks in the league. So the timeline of trading for Garoppolo does make sense. One word reaction to Mike McDaniel and Jimmy G pairing back up. What is it right now? I'm going to put you to the test. Get creative with it. Now, every single week after our live show wraps up, we do a live podcast on Callin, which is a live interactive podcasting app that's like Twitter Spaces, but even better. I have an opportunity to take your calls, and you can interact with me, ask me any questions about the San Francisco 49ers, or relay any thoughts that you have on this football team. The live shows up to this point have been great, but with preseason coming up right around the corner, regular season after that, we want hundreds of people to tune into our podcast, and let's start building that momentum right now so that you can call into the show and be a part of the conversation. How do you do it? You see the link at the bottom of your screen. It's chatsports.com/49erscallin. Download the app, make a profile, subscribe to the 49ers Report. The link to download the app is available in the comment section and the description for those of you who have iPhones and also Androids as well. Houston Texans have been a steady team involved in some of these Garoppolo rumors over the last several months because they have ties to Garoppolo. Current general manager Nick Caserio was with the Patriots as their director of player personnel when the Patriots drafted Garoppolo back in 2014, and they do have the draft compensation to potentially give up for Garoppolo and entice San Francisco. 2 third-round picks, 3 sixth-round picks in 2023. Cap space right now, $9.1 million. It's pretty crazy that a team that finished last year 4-13 has that little cap space, but they basically paid players to go away. Their number one quarterback right now is Davis Mills, the rookie who last year played pretty well. We had an opportunity to see him up close and personal late in the year during Trey Lance's second career start, and I thought that he had some pretty nice moments, has a nice arm, it's pretty live, has really good size, doesn't have a lot of mobility, but can be that steadying presence back there in the pocket who can hang in there, take some hits, and display some toughness. For him, on a bad team with Brandon Cooks as his number one wide receiver, bad complementary cast outside of that with the porous defense to complete 67% of his passes, those are pretty solid numbers. 16 touchdowns, 10 picks, average yards per attempt, not nearly ideal at a little less than 7, and then sub 3,000 yards. But Davis Mills certainly showed that ability, but also, like a lot of the other quarterbacks who we're talking about with these teams, if he struggles as well, the Texans could also look to move off of Davis Mills and then pivot to Garoppolo for him to be their quarterback of the future. And as we talked about Nick Caserio with that relationship with Jimmy G. If you had to start your franchise with one of these quarterbacks, who would you start your franchise with? Playing style alone and playing ability. D for Davis Mills, G for Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm going Jimmy G because he's the more proven guy, and I think he is underrated up to this point. Seattle Seahawks, also on this list. Jeremy Fowler saying the Seahawks have had discussions about a Garoppolo trade, which we talked about here on the 49ers Report. And here's where things get a little bit weird for Seattle in their current timeline. At 70 years old, given everything that Pete Carroll has been able to accomplish at USC, after failed stints in New England, and with the New York Jets, he's had a great career leading the charge in Seattle, 2 Super Bowl appearances and 1 ring. At 70 years old, is he comfortable with overseeing a rebuild, or does he want to win right now? Cap space for Seattle, $16+ million, so a contract restructure would also be in play. But Drew Lock and Geno Smith are the 1-2 options at that quarterback spot. It's going to be a competition throughout training camp, and there is no doubt about this, that Garoppolo way better than those aforementioned quarterbacks who really are just garbage, and Garoppolo is not. Now, here's my take on this. Would the 49ers be comfortable trading Garoppolo to an in-division rival in Seattle, a team that has dominated San Francisco over time, knowing that if they trade him there and then Garoppolo haunts them in their nightmares, it's going to be pretty tough to swallow, knowing that you gave up on Garoppolo. Now, if Trey Lance ends up being a very good starting caliber quarterback, then it'll be all good at the end of the day. But if he ends up being a bust and you traded Jimmy Garoppolo away to the Seattle Seahawks and he ends up winning a lot of games and comes back twice a year and takes you down, that will be a tough pill to swallow for the Niners. And I guarantee you they have those conversations inside that building because we know this organization is high on Garoppolo. That's why they haven't traded him up to this point, and they've seen what he can bring to the table. Now, why the Seahawks make sense. Garoppolo, obviously a better option than Locke and Geno Smith. He can be the point guard distributor for the weapons on that team, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf. They were able to bulk up the running back spot in the NFL draft. Garoppolo, a steady winning presence, and that's what the Seahawks are used to during Russell Wilson's entire tenure there. Since he was drafted in 2012, only one season below 500, and Pete Carroll loves to run the football, loves that old school brand, and Garoppolo's fine with that because he can just play point guard in that offense. I'll tell you this. I hate the Seahawks. They piss me off. This is a football team that has dominated San Francisco historically. So with that, I want you all to rally around the fact that Seattle just sucks. So get into the comment section right now and just type FC. You already know what it means. Seahawks suck. Type FC in the comment section. I'm tired of seeing Seattle dominate the Niners over the last seemingly decade, especially in some big games. So if you're frustrated with Seattle, if you hate them, if you dislike them, if you just have that bitter taste in your mouth when you just think about them and their ugly trash colors, type FC in the comment section right now. All right, we'll give you some shout-outs here. See if the people are rallying in the comment section. Travis Boff is. He's saying FC. Type FC if you can't stand Seattle. Hada Kiyama, FC. Just in Time, FC. Michael Roselle, FC. Rams are repeating. We got a Rams fan in the chat. It's guaranteed to pop off. Memphis, Maine, FC. Yazur, Hanif Razak, FC. Just in Time, FC. FC from Julian Rost. FC from Darius Daniels. Let's go. This could be one of our new things. Just randomly throughout our shows. Just type FC. FC. Hanif Razak. Yeah, he's going all in on Seattle right now. You love to see it. Now, don't type literal FC. You see it on the screen right here. Seattle, the abbreviation, SEA. So on top of that, FC. It's like a play on words. You know the deal. Let's ride. 49ers Report. We're going live on call-in every single week, including after today's YouTube and Rumble show wraps up. It's a live interactive podcast where you can call into the show like a sports talk radio show or like Twitter Spaces, and we can just chop it up. When we go live on call-in today, I'm going to relay a list of 5 rookies who I'm looking forward to watching in Niners training camp, which, can you believe it, gets underway on Tuesday. Can't wait to start talking some actual football, and our coverage going to be phenomenal. That's why you subscribe to the channel. And if you have friends and family members out there who are looking for more 49ers content and the best 49ers content, tell them about the 49ers Report and how we get down. Analysis, news, rumors, breakdowns, game previews, post-game shows, live watch parties, live shows every single week. Nobody's doing what we're doing, and most importantly, we involve the faithful in all of our shows. So tell them to subscribe. Also, subscribe to us on Callin, chatsports.com/49ers Callin. Once again, if you're just joining us, going live on Callin right after our YouTube and Rumble show wraps up. Can't wait for it. About to do a mailbag here on the 49ers Report to round out our visual show before we do a live podcast. We need more questions. Producer Coop is telling me we need more questions in the chat right now. So get those questions in. Get those hot takes in. Get those predictions in. Regardless of what you want to say, just say it, but you got to use the hashtag 49ers. Hashtag 49ers or Super Chat us for your questions to be answered on the show. A lot of people going back and forth with the Rams fan. You love to see that. NFC West figures to be another hostile division this year with some really competitive games. Hashtag 49ers. Get those questions in the comment section right now so that we can put them up on the show. Hashtag 49ers Super Chat. And if we get a $50 Super Chat, yeah, I'm going to shotgun a beer. Yes, sir. You already know. Paul Pinzon, Just in Time, Jacob Summer, Rams, Michael Garcia, Sam Puckett, RX Ways, Philip Schubert, Debo the GOAT, Memphis Maine, Dale Peters. People still typing FC. Get those questions in, folks. Hashtag 49ers. Super chat. Mikey Sue's 4. He just got a question in. You got a big prediction? You got a bold take on the 49ers here in 2022? Use the hashtag 49ers. Got a couple of the Johns in there as well. Hanif Razak, he got a question in. He got a couple of questions in. Good job by you, Hanif. Debo the GOAT, got to use the hashtag 49ers, man, because that's a good question that we want to feature on the show. Broderick Coldman, still typing FC. Hanif Razak, we see that question. Good job by you. It's also delayed. What Noodle 187 getting a question in? Okay, we should have enough. Should be good. No way he shotguns a beer on the stream. Hey, Super Chat $50. Do you know who I am? Do you know who we are and how we get down, Rams? Now, Rams fans would never. That's for sure. A couple weeks ago, I saw a Rams Super Bowl shirt for the first time since they won a Super Bowl. That shows that the fan base isn't that large, and they don't get down like we get down. $50 Super Chat. Let's show Rams that we get down here on the 49ers Report. I'm shotgunning a beer for a $50 Super Chat. Show that fraudulent Rams fan in the chat what's really good. He said no way he shotguns a beer on the stream. Bet. Memphis, Maine with the question in as well. Okay, mailbag coming up right now live on the 49ers Report. Welcome into the 49ers Report, coming your way on today's show, a mailbag where I take all of your questions and you're able to relay all of your takes and predictions on the show. You have to be subscribed to the channel, though, to get your questions in during our live show. YouTube.com/49ers TV, or even easier, hit that red sub button right now. We kick off this mailbag with this one coming in from Mikey Sue's 4. Who are Lance's purported backups this season, Chase? Well, there's one up to this point. It's Nate Sudfeld. And if Jimmy Garoppolo does come back, he will then unseat Nate Sudfeld as quarterback number 2 on this roster. And I don't have a lot of concerns about the roster that San Francisco has been able to put together. If there are 2 concerns that I have on this football team, though, it's quarterback 2 behind Trey Lance, because if he goes down, I don't have a lot of confidence in Nate Sudfeld for him to be that guy, because the jury is out on whether or not he's a legitimate backup quarterback. Offensive line is the other concern, which also is tied to Lance, his success, and him potentially getting injured, and what might happen if he goes down, and who is going to be quarterback number 2. So going into training camp, which gets underway on Tuesday in the shadows of Levi Stadium, those are the 2 biggest questions. Appreciate the question, Mikey Sue's 4. We pivot to this one from Hanif Razak. How many yards, touchdowns, and interceptions will Trey Lance throw and rush for? What are the possibilities that Ayuk and Debo both get 1,000 receiving yards as well as 700 rushing yards each? Also, predict the record. Okay, I'm going to break this down bit by bit, and we're kind of going to go down the stairwell here. So for Lance, let's go 28 passing touchdowns with 13 interceptions, and he runs for 400 yards. I don't think it's going to be as much as what people are predicting. As for Ayuk and Debo, both getting 1,000 receiving yards, I don't think it happens. I think only one of them surpasses that 1,000-yard mark. Now, Ayuk's been close during his first 2 years. Could he break out going into a pivotal year 3 where he's trying to secure the bag in the future? Maybe. But 2 receivers, each with 1,000 yards, that's lofty. Also, 49ers record prediction, I've said this all along. I think they're going to win around 10 games. Same record as last year. Chad with this one. Trade Jimmy Garoppolo, then sign Ryan Fitzpatrick to back up Trey Lance. Ryan Fitzpatrick has retired. He's been able to get a nice little payday being an analyst for Amazon this upcoming season, but I almost think that if this were to happen, Chad, it would happen late in the process, maybe during the season, after the Niners had already traded Jimmy Garoppolo away, because at that point, you'd have to convince Ryan Fitzpatrick to come out of retirement in order to hop on your roster and play some games. And what I mean by that is, let's say that the 49ers get off to a solid start. They're in the thick of things in the NFC West or in the NFC playoff picture, and Trey Lance goes down. And Nate Sudfeld clearly isn't that guy. You hit up Ryan Fitzpatrick and say, look, come out of retirement, make a play to play once again, and you have an opportunity with Kyle Shanahan as your head coach, Trent Williams protecting your blind side, a really good defense, and awesome complementary weapons to lead a team to a playoff race. And this can be your swan song, where you can have deep playoff level success. That's how you convince Ryan Fitzpatrick to come to San Francisco. Now let's hope that it doesn't get to that situation, that it doesn't get to that desperation level, right? But hey, you trade away Jimmy G, just don't have a lot of confidence in Nate Sudfeld to be that guy, as I've talked about. Speaking of Trey Lance, I gave you my prediction a little bit earlier. That's why we're cooking up this question for you on the fly. Good job by producer Coop for doing that. How many touchdowns will Trey Lance throw for in 2022? Let us know right now in the comment section. What Noodle 187, the legend, are you sold on our offensive line, or do you think we need to make moves? I'm not sold at center. The jury is out with what happens at left guard. Is it going to be Aaron Banks? Now, he struggled at moments throughout the preseason and played very sparingly in the regular season last year, but he was and is more comfortable at left guard. That's the position that he played at Notre Dame, and that's why he was drafted in the second round by the Niners back in 2021. But can he play? We're really not sure. Is Jake Brendel really going to be the center after he has not been a starting caliber center or has not gotten starting reps throughout his NFL career? That's certainly a big question mark. Who plays right guard? Is it Daniel Brunskill? He's had some moments against Aaron Donald, which is really, really impressive. But can Daniel Brunskill be a long-term starting guard in this league? And then Mike McGlinchey is coming off a torn quad. So outside of Trent Williams at left tackle, who by his peers has basically been named the most dominant and best football player in the NFL, my goodness, I have some concerns about this offensive line. Now, what moves could you make? Bringing in J.C. Treader. I think Billy Price would be a disaster. He's been awful. He was terrible with Cincinnati, bad with the Giants. There's a reason why he's available right now. I wouldn't go that route, but J.C. Treader, I would like that option if Jake Brendel struggles. We have a $5 super chat coming in from Anthony. What's up, Chase? Anthony, I'm chilling, kicking it, just chopping it up with the faithful as I love doing. I said last season and postseason, somehow, some way, Jimmy Garoppolo will end up being the starting quarterback. He won't be traded. Creepy, but watch and see. That's a good take, Anthony, and I appreciate the boldness there, man. That would be something. Can you imagine if the Niners exhausted that draft capital to move up to number 3 last year to take Trey Lance, and either he doesn't work out, he's not ready, or he gets injured, and then Garoppolo, who we thought it was going to be his last game in the NFC Championship against the Los Angeles Rams. It seemed imminent. It seemed inevitable that he was going to get traded away. Then he doesn't get traded away. Then he comes back, and maybe he gets signed to a contract extension in the future. Anthony, that would be mind-blowing considering where we were just a couple of months ago. But in the NFL, you cannot rule craziness out. That's why this league is the best, and that's why they made $11 billion last year as a business. Now, if you're subscribed to the 49ers Report, just want to say thanks because you guys are the best and make what we do possible and make my job very fun on a day-in, day-out basis because every single day we're giving you content here on the channel, news, rumors, analysis, live shows, watch parties as well, just year-round coverage. But if you are subscribed to the Niners Report, show me that you're a loyal subscriber by getting into the comment section because if you're subscribed, that means that you're a member of the gang. So type gang right now. Alex Bermudez, if Javon Kinlaw can stay healthy, do you think that he can be better than Eric Armstead? Maybe. He has the ability, he has the size, he has the strength to be a really good defensive tackle in this league, but he's played one full season in now 2 seasons, and that's a problem as a former first-round pick. Now, he had red flags with that knee at South Carolina. That knee injury and that knee ailment cost him some games year one. It cost him almost all of last year. And I'm just hoping that the guy can stay healthy because I want to see him succeed. He's been working his ass off throughout this offseason to get in shape. He's been doing boxing workouts and other side drills and looks good in doing so. But when the live bullets start flying, can he be that guy? I'm not going to say that he's going to be better than Eric Armstead, who, when he switched from edge to DT last year, played excellent ball from the halfway point of the season on and was dominant in the playoffs. But can he be better? Can he stay on the field consistently? Hopefully he can start with the latter portion of that statement. Memphis, Maine, does Trey Sermon break out this year? Trey Sermon is also a guy who has looked really good in these offseason workouts. Now, to look good in workouts, that's one thing. For it to translate to the practice field and the game field, that's another thing. He's been working out with Dalvin Cook throughout this offseason as well as Devin Singletary, and the footwork looks good. It looks as though he's added some muscle. He's added some weight. But at this point in the offseason, everybody's talking about best shape of life season because everybody's like, yeah, I'm in the best shape of my life. I feel the best that I've felt throughout my entire career. I haven't felt this good in 5 years. Like, everybody says those things, and maybe it's just a mental game, right? You want to tell yourself that you're feeling good so that when you hit the practice field, you are feeling good. But Trey Sermon, this is a big year for him going into his sophomore campaign after year one did not go according to plan. He didn't get a lot of reps, didn't get a lot of snaps, then he got injured and was slow to adjust to the NFL game. Now at Ohio State, Oklahoma, he was a pretty good back, but he's really only had limited production. So we'll see what he can do this year. And that running back competition, it's going to be a good one. This 49ers organization, it is historic. And the Niners in 2022 have some of the most watched television audiences in all of sports. NFC Championship game, final week against the Rams, divisional round against the Packers, wild card round against the Cowboys. Some people were talking, saying that the Niners are the real America's team. And a big reason why they have such a large following, the era that was legendary for a long time. Tom Downey's looking at me as the host of the Cowboys Report. But a big reason why the Niners have such a large following and some of the most watched events in 2022, they've had some legendary players. So with that, I ask you this. Who is your favorite Niner of all time? Such a long list. It's like Santa's list to choose from. But give me one player right now in the comment section. Debo the GOAT. Will Debo and Bosa get paid if Jimmy Garoppolo gets traded? I think so. It certainly frees up some money. Now, what's interesting is that Garoppolo has that base salary of $24 million and then that cap hit of $26.9. And those contract extensions for Bosa and Debo, they really won't come into effect until next year, the year after that, because you kind of want to backload those deals. But if you can give them some money up front and some guaranteed money, that'll make Debo really happy because this upcoming year, he has that base salary of $3.9 million, and he made that trade request because of the lack of financial security looking into the future. So he wants some money right now. If you can give that to Debo, in addition to that contract extension, you can make an unhappy player very happy very quickly. Byron McCants, big supporter of the Niners Report. What is the ideal trade package the Niners can put together to acquire Jesse Bates? Yeah, that's very interesting. So he didn't sign the franchise tag. And if he were to hold out because he didn't sign that franchise tag, he wouldn't get fined. So that's why he's in these trade discussions. Now, we talked about Jesse Bates this week. I think that if you gave up a third-round pick for a safety whose contract is expiring and set to hit free agency, that might be enough. Maybe you have to throw in another player. Dre Greenlaw certainly has some value as a very good linebacker. But a day 2 pick, a day 3 pick, maybe a couple of picks, depending on where those picks are, in addition to a player, could get it done for Jesse Bates. It's not like your team is make or break with or without a safety, but he is a really good safety. And Jesse Bates and Jimmy Ward, that would automatically become one of the best safety tandems in the NFL. Another reminder, we go live every single week after our live show wraps up on YouTube and Rumble for a live podcast on the Call-In app, which is like Twitter Spaces, but even better. What is Call-In? You have an opportunity to call into the show, like a sports talk radio show, but much more interactive. There's a comment section. I can also get you into the caller queue. You make a profile and put together a profile picture. It's awesome, and I love interacting with the gang. So make sure that you download the Call-In app today on your iPhone or Android device by going to chatsports.com/49erscallin and join us every single week for the live podcast flow. The download links available in the comment section and the description of this video. Speaking of Call-In, we are about to pivot over to Call-In exclusively to start our live podcast. Once I start the room, I will, of course, let you know. No, I didn't know what you were getting at there. Yeah. Chatsports.com/49erscallin. You plug in that link right now, you'll be able to join us. Oh, I like that. That's good. Yeah, that's good. All right, so I'm going to pull up Call-In here and start the room. I just didn't want to, butcher it, you know? All right. Pulling up Call-In here. Hope you guys join us for our live podcast where I'm going to go through 5 rookies who I'm looking forward to watching in Niners training camp, which gets underway next week. So let me just pull up the call-in app. We don't take commercial breaks here because if I do, I'll just miss all of you guys. Let's see. I'm also going to put the link in the comment section right now so that you guys can join us. There's the link to join the pod. Put it in a couple of times there. I am going to officially start the room right now. We'll let some people pile in. We'll give you some shout outs here on YouTube. And then we'll go live exclusively on Callin. We are officially live on the Call-In app. This is the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. Chase Senior here with you. Coming up on today's show, 5 49ers rookies who I'm looking forward to watching in training camp, which gets underway next week. Make sure you hop into the caller queue so that you can call into the show. Jeffrey is already in there. A couple of others already in there as well. Make sure you make a profile so that you can join the show. I'm going to tweet the link out too. Just give me a moment. And then I'll be able to put that link in the comment section here on YouTube. What'd they say? He's terrible. Josh Rosen, Niners legend to the Cleveland Browns. At least that's what people are talking about in the office right now. 1-year deal. I don't know how he keeps getting jobs. I'm going to put the call-in link, which is updated, in the comment section right now. Then you guys can join us. That's the Twitter link that I just put out there. Live on Callin. Hop into the show. Going to discuss 5 rookies who I'm looking forward to watching in training camp. In the meantime, more than 200 people still watching live here. You see the link in the chat right now. Click that. Hop into the room for our live podcast where you can call into the show. Paul Pinzon, I hope to see you there. Mr. Block Ice, same can be said for you. Damn, it is time for fantasy football. I haven't played fantasy football in a little while. Stevers 209 Sports, go Niners. Rob's also here. He's going Joe Montana, his favorite player of all time. Mr. Block Ice, Navarro Bowman, Eloise, Montana for sure. Patrick Willis, Prime Time is a good one from Fred Davis. Montana from Wayne Kimball. Jerry Rice, favorite player for Wet Noodle 187. As you guys are in the comment section here on YouTube, dropping names for your favorite Niner of all time. Charles Amenihu, also in the chat. Love to see that. Oh, that's your favorite Niner because he went to Texas. Cesar Macias, what's good? Yo, Cesar. We're about to go live on Callin. And we're live right now, but we're about to start the official show on Callin in just a few moments. Some people are piling in. David is here. Hanif Razak. If you guys hop into the caller queue, then I'll start answering your questions in about 15 minutes or so. We'll go live for a 30-minute podcast on Callin. Hope you all join us. It's awesome. Garrison Hurst, just to name a few from Mr. Block Ice. Steve Young from Donnie D. Cesar. Roger Craig, legend. Fullback, running back hybrid. Jerry Rice from Debo the GOAT. Jerry Rice might be the GOAT. Debo the GOAT. Steve Young, Mando So Wavy. B-Nye, Roger Craig. Mando So Wavy. Okay. All right. Make sure you join us on Callin. Just letting some people pile into the room. Hop in, hop on board, hop into the caller queue. By doing that, I'll be able to answer your calls for our live podcast. But for those of you watching us on YouTube, we're about to shut the stream off and pop over on Call-In exclusively. So with that, appreciate all of you for watching today's show, no matter where you watched or how you watched. Thank you so much for making the 49ers Report a part of your day. Until next time, thanks for watching us on YouTube as well as Rumble. For now, join us on Call-In, chatsports.com/49.